if I told you that there was one simple food that you could eat every day that would help you live longer, and it happens to be your microbiome's favorite food? You have definitely had this food, but may not be eating enough of it. Are you dying to know what it is? I am talking about legumes, also known as beans, pulses, chickpeas, or lentils. These humble little powerhouses can transform your gut, your energy, and even the planetary health. So let's get into it. If you're just meeting me for the first time, I'm Dr. Katrina Coulter. I'm an infectious disease physician, and I make educational health videos with a focus on the microbiome. Just a reminder that although I am a medical doctor, these videos are meant to serve as health information and are for educational purposes only, and do not substitute for a healthcare provider's advice. So please go speak to your healthcare provider about any medical issues you may have. So legumes are in a family of plants that make a pod with a seed inside. And these have been around for centuries in different cultures across the globe. So they've been eaten in Latin America, the Mediterranean, Asia, and India for many thousands of years, and have also been the staple of diets of people that live in blue zones or areas across the world where people tend to live to be greater than 100 years old. If you've never read the book Blue Zones by Dan Buettner, I highly recommend it. There's a lot of helpful insights into what helps people live for a long time. But one of the common threads throughout that book was that all these cultures ate legumes or beans on nearly a daily basis. So here's where it gets exciting for your gut microbiome. Legumes contain two types of fiber, and this is important. So one type of fiber that they contain is called insoluble fiber. And so some people describe this as like the broom of the gut. These are the fibers that we do not digest very well. And so sometimes they're called roughage. And what they do is they keep things moving along. So they aid in digestion and they help with bowel regularity. The other type of fiber that legumes contain is called soluble fiber. And this type of fiber, when water is added, it kind of dissolves and turns into a gel. And these are the fibers that add bulk to the digestive tract. So they really aid with insulin sensitivity and blood sugar regulation, as well as they slow down digestion. Soluble fiber is also a prebiotic fiber. So if you've heard that buzzword, these are the fibers that the beneficial bacteria in our gut love to eat. This is their favorite food, soluble fiber. And beans and legumes are a fantastic source of this fiber. So what they do, the gut bacteria, when they have an adequate amount of this soluble fiber, is they digest it and they make a product that is called a short-chain fatty acid. Short-chain fatty acids, or SCFAs, are also known as propionate, butyrate, and acetate. And these SCFAs do all sorts of amazing things in our body. So they decrease inflammation, they help with insulin sensitivity, they help maintain our gut lining, and they also communicate with our brain and tell us when we're full and that everything is good and happy and we can relax and we don't need to be scurrying about looking for food. That's one way that you can think about it, is when you're feeding your body beans, you're actually feeding an entire ecosystem and nourishing it in such a way that it can function properly. And this has such a huge influence on our energy balance. So it's not just the fiber that you get from beans that's amazing, you also get protein from beans. So this is awesome because you have two of your major macros coming from one food source. So beans are an incredible source of protein for the body, and that supports muscle health, that supports energy, and again, supports blood sugar balance. In addition, it's a protein source that doesn't include saturated fat, as you'll often find from animal sources of protein. So if you are on a weight loss journey, this is a great source of protein without adding a lot of extra calories. In addition, legumes are rich in minerals such as magnesium, potassium, and iron. And so these also help with your energy metabolism and your insulin sensitivity. So all around, a bean is providing all these different things that your body really needs. One example that you may not be aware of is alfalfa is a legume. So if you've ever heard of alfalfa hay, you know it's the desirable, more expensive hay. And the reason for that is because it provides ruminant animals with a source of protein in the winter. So that's why alfalfa is so great. So the other really awesome thing about plants in the legume family is that they are great for our soil health. So these plants are nitrogen fixers. And what that means is they pull nitrogen from the air and they put it into the soil. And so that allows farmers and ranchers and anybody that's trying to grow anything in their garden the ability to use less synthetic fertilizer, because the plant is doing the work of what the fertilizer would do. So if you have legumes in your garden, you don't need to add a lot of nitrogen fertilizer. So it really is an important, and one could say a keystone plant for our existence here on this planet. So those are all the great things about legumes, but I can't talk about legumes without addressing the elephant in the room. Gas, flatulence, flatus, whatever you want to call it, is a big reason why most people don't want to eat beans or legumes, is because they've had some experience where they probably got a large load of them and had a very negative experience. And so have then just kind of shied away, not wanting to recreate that. So not only can it be, embarrassing, it can also be very uncomfortable or even painful when you have a lot of gas from a high load of legumes. So why does this happen specifically with legumes, and what can you do about it? So the gas in your intestines is actually the microbes communicating. So it means that fermentation is happening, but it can be especially noticeable when your intestines or your microbiome is not used to having such a high fiber load. So you're not getting your needed daily intake, and then all of a sudden you get a large amount, and your microbiome is suddenly trying to deal with it. And along that same vein, may not have the appropriate bacteria present to help deal with it. Rest assured though, you will nourish those bacterial colonies the more and more you eat fiber, and specifically when you eat legumes. So you will develop those correct bacteria, but if you start with a large amount after not having eaten beans or legumes for quite some time, you likely are going to have an uncomfortable experience. So start low, go slow is advice number one. Start with a small amount, especially if you're not getting a lot of fiber in your diet. You want to just start with a couple tablespoons of beans and start working your way up. But ideally, you start getting beans in on a daily basis. Other things that really help, the most evidence-based one is soaking the beans in an alkaline water. So you can add baking soda to the water and soak the beans overnight, and then you discard that water. And what that does is help get rid of some of those fermentable carbohydrates, and so it doesn't cause as much gas or flatulence. Also, if you're using canned beans, you should rinse the canned beans and then discard that rinse water. Cooking the beans helps as well to minimize that. And there is some evidence that adding certain herbs and spices may also help you out there, such as cumin, a bay leaf, or ginger will minimize that. There are some easier to digest options, and some people find that the more processed a legume is, the less it likely it is to make you have that negative gassy experience. Beans or legumes in which the shell is gone, such as in hummus, which is chickpeas that is ground up, also tend to not cause that as much. And so if you've ever tried to make hummus at home and you just can't get it as nice and creamy as the store-bought hummus, the most likely reason is because they're using peeled chickpeas, and you're probably not peeling your chickpeas. I know I definitely haven't, because who has time to peel their chickpeas? But that's the reason why. Other easier to digest options include mung beans, or some lentils. And if you've had a negative experience with lentils, just know they're not all created equal. The black ones aren't the same as the green ones, aren't the same as the red ones. So experiment a little bit, but start slow and then gradually increase it up. So hopefully you've heard enough here to realize that beans need to be in your diet regularly. If not daily, at least several times a week. And right now it's cool weather, and so a pot of chili really sounds good. But I would say my favorite go-to is hummus, because it's so versatile and portable. You can dip veggies in it. You can roll it up in a tortilla for a to-go snack with some protein and fiber, or you can add it to some bread and add some dimension to a sandwich. So I would love for you to leave in the comments what your favorite type of legume is. If this resonates with you, hit like or subscribe, check out my other videos. And if you are looking for the opportunity to work one-on-one with me, head over to my website at katrinacoultermd.com, and I will see you on the next video.